Welcome back, Jeff Cameron Show, right here on War Chant TV. Before we continue with our guest, Jared Verse, who's kind enough to join us this afternoon, want to remind everybody to make sure that you like and subscribe to War Chant TV. That way, any of these videos that we do, and we do a lot of them, you're going to get notified. You're going to be told that there's another one up that you're going to want to watch, especially now as we're getting set to go into spring football, having the opportunity to have players like Jared on. You're not going to want to miss these interviews as we get to know these guys that we cover. And Jared Verse joins us now. He'll be joined tonight with some of his teammates. Speaking to the Tallahassee Boys and Girls Club. Should be a lot of fun. It's part of the dinner tonight, Black History Feast. Sounds exciting. Sounds interesting. He's going to be talking to the children there. That's an organization, I might add, the Tallahassee Boys and Girls Club, that I think very highly of and have had the opportunity to work with in the past. So without further ado, Jared Verse joins us now on the program. Everybody knows, obviously, Jared, you've had your sit-down press conference, talked with everybody about the process of selecting Florida State. I may revisit some of those things, but first things first, how's the tour of duty going?
Everyone spoke about how hard it was, coming in. It's like a big deal. And, I didn't get to do too much of that. And like leading up into it, and then I got here, and it's been a lot. It's heavy. It's hard work, and I love it a lot.
Well, you're a workout guy. You embrace the process. You embrace the grind. Everything I've read about you, and then listened to you talk. I was part of that opening press conference as well. You love the work, and you put a lot of work in because you mentioned it. Coming out of high school, you're a tight end. You weren't recruited in mass by some of the bigger schools. You go to Albany, nothing against Albany, of course, but then you blow up. Well, you couldn't have done that without an awful lot of hard work and dedication in the gym, and obviously eating an awful lot. So talk a little bit about that work. Is there anything that's much different about what you're doing now? Is it exceedingly more difficult than what you were doing, or have you acclimated pretty nicely?
I definitely acclimated pretty Albany, the work, every strength coach, every conditioning coach has their own philosophy. And, Coach Storms here is a lot different than, other weightlifting coaches, strength coaches, conditioning coaches I've met. And, before I chose the school, I talked to him a lot. It's been a lot of, like, how he expected it to be. It's hard work. It's a constant grind. Some days you're like, do I even want to do this really? But I love it a lot. It's hard work, but it's not bad to do.
Did you have the opportunity to talk to Coach Storms? I know, obviously, you talked to Coach Norvell and Coach Papuchis and all of that when you were looking at schools. But for somebody like yourself, you had offers from Texas, Oklahoma, USC, Florida, Miami. The list goes on. LSU. The list goes on and on and on. Obviously, Florida State. Did you have a chance to talk to him about his philosophy before arriving at the decision to come to Florida State?
Yeah. Coming into the final days of my decision, I talked to every D-line coach. I talked to most head coaches, but having my own internal list of schools, with Florida State being very high up on my list, obviously, I did feel like it was need to talk to the nutritionists, the strength coaches, everybody along that, the people I'd be working with on a daily basis.
Still want to be an engineer?
No, that was way back freshman year. I changed that a while ago. I changed that a while ago. I'm a social science major now.
Okay, well, you're still challenging yourself. I like it. Hey, I was going to tell you, if you still wanted to be an engineer, I've worked with them in my radio business for years. They're quirky cats, so I was wondering why you wanted to be an engineer.
Nah, it was that was way back, probably 2-3 years ago.
So given, I want to ask you something else too, because we're talking about hard work and putting in the time and getting bigger and getting stronger and doing all those things. I know from your bio in the past, and this interested me because way long time ago, I ran track as well. I saw you did the 4x400 relay. And I got to say, man, I played a lot of sports, not as well as you did, obviously, but I always thought the 4x400 relay was hard as hell, Jared. I thought that was one of the hardest things I've ever done in sports.
It was definitely the hardest I ever did it. Like probably the hardest event I've ever done in track. In football, there's, you get play and play again to try, but in track, you got that one chance to really get it right. You have to give it your all every time. It's a headache, especially we went to Penn Relays and we went to states. So we're going up against kids that are just as good as us, if not better. And that was very challenging, pushing yourself to the full limit.
You hit that halfway mark, right? You hit that halfway mark and it's all up here.
Honestly, I ran it the wrong way because I'd go like a full out sprint for about 200, 250. And I just give whatever I had for that final 150, 100 yards. And it was, I'd be on the ground. Like, I'd hand the baton off. I'd instantly fall to the ground. My team would come pick me up. We just watch our final guy finish up and then move on with our day.
You know, what's funny about that, Jared, is that I wasn't the fastest guy, so I just didn't want to give ground. So I did the same thing. It was like, I got to do this all out. But, you know, you're one of the, you know, obviously you guys won state. You guys were elite and all of that. It's funny to hear you say that because obviously you're a great athlete. And I always ask people, you know, did you ever run track? Because if you did, you can almost do anything. Oh, yeah. It feels like you can almost do anything.
You're a true athlete if you run track. Like, you can do it all.
All right. So again, through the process, last one of these, and then we'll look forward to coming up in spring football. But I read that your mom and dad, in particular, your mom set up a war room for you when you were going through to make these decisions. And I got to tell you, when I read about it, I smiled ear to ear because I hearkened back to the FBI charting mob families and trying to connect people to what they are and who is what. You had which kids were committed, who were the coaches, what their records were last year, if they went to a bowl, all of it. How fun was that?
Honestly, it was heavily on my mom because we put them all up. It was probably about 10 like really big 12 by 24 papers, like huge. And it had each of the colleges' names up there, the pros and cons, who was committed there, how many recruits they had, how many transfers they had, how many people were leaving, how many people were coming in, new coaches that were coming in. And my mom did like a lot of the information. Like I give her almost all of the credit. I came in, probably wrote like a couple things down, figure out who I liked, like the kids I've met from the teams and stuff like that. But it was a lot. Like if we have a nice dining room. It was pretty filled up, like, well, not the dining room, our office filled up the whole wall of the office, everything like that. There was chairs, papers all piled on the floor. It was a mess, to be quite honest.
Yeah, but you got to keep that stuff so that after you've been in the NFL for 15 years, you can look back at the whole process that led to the moment that you chose to go to Florida State, right? Because that's the stuff of memories, and that's the building block.
Oh, no, it definitely was. It was the final day. I remember kind of like I kind of made my decision, but I wasn't like I wanted to be sure with it, so I kind of sat with it for a couple of days. And then one day I was just sitting in there looking at it, and I just kept seeing Florida State, looking at all the pros and everything, and I was like, yeah, nah, this is where I'm going to go.
Hey, so when you're recruited by, as I mentioned before, sort of the creme de la creme of college football, I got to imagine whittling it down is very difficult. You know, obviously you had a set of parameters that you wanted to use to decide. You know, I read some of what you had to say about that. You know, what can you do to help the program? What can they do for you to get you to where you want to go? You know, will they make you a better player? All of that. And I know you've spoke on this before, but I thought something was interesting, and you said this in the opening press conference when you were introduced to the assembled media here, that it was hard to tell people after your visits, and you weren't going to take your 5th visit, you took 4, and that it's hard to tell coaches who have invested and really tried to win you over. And these are folks that are probably, if they put their best foot forward, guys that you grow to respect as well, but only one team can win. I thought it's fascinating that you took the time to care about those guys and their feelings. It's a business. You had to make the decision that's best for you. But I guess recollect on that a little bit. And then I guess specifically, what was it about Norvell, Papuchis, and the group here at Florida State that won you over?
You know, answering the first part of that, it was hard that day. Like when I did announce I was coming to Florida State, it was definitely hard because you had to call 30, 40 something coaches, letting them all know, you know, thank you for your time and investment in me. You know, I thank you for like looking at the things I can bring to you and the things that you liked about me as a person. But, you know, I do have to go somewhere else for myself, for my family. It was definitely hard, like looking at all these guys in the eyes, all these grown men, all these amazing people, you know, got to know them, met a couple of their wives, their kids, like everything like that, and telling them like, you know, I'm not going to be a part of your program. But then, you know, I did kind of think about, you know, Florida State, I'm coming here, Tallahassee, you know, I like the team, I like the players, I like the coaches. You know, Coach Norvell, the thing that got me, it was one specific thing he told me, you know, on my visit. Me and my mom were meeting with him. We were about to leave. He looked me in my eyes. He said, I can't promise you, you know, every day you're going to like me. I can't promise you every day you're going to love me. Every day we're not going to not like each other. He was like, I can't promise you that, but I can promise you I'll give you my best every day. And since then, he's delivered on that promise indefinitely. Like, has not strayed away from that. You know, in tour of duty the other day, I did a drill a little bit wrong. He looked me in my eyes. He was like, you got to do better than that. Like, that wasn't even close to good enough. Got right back up, went back and got right to it. You know, he's like a coach where he's going to praise you if you do something wrong, or if you do something right. But if you do something wrong, he's going to let you know how you did it wrong, how to fix it. And I love that about him. I love that he gave me a real feel for it. He told me he'd give me his best so I could do the same for him.
So, Jared, that means you like to be coached hard.
Well, definitely. You know, some people I like, you know, coaches that tell me the truth. I don't want to hear you can do this amazingly, you can do this amazingly. Show me what I'm doing wrong. Let me work on my weaknesses. And Coach JP, Coach Norvell, Coach Odell, you know, they've all done that beyond belief. You know, they're telling me what I'm doing wrong completely, not what I'm doing right.
You certainly gave a lot of credit in the past to your defensive line coach, Bill Nessel at Albany, and everything he taught you, right? What's different about what you're hearing? And I know it's early on. We haven't even donned the pads yet, so we'll see. But what's different about Coach Papuchis? I know you learned so much about your techniques and speed moves and all that stuff at your previous stop. What's Coach Papuchis like? What have you learned technically, I guess, if anything, up to this point from him?
You know, the main thing that I think about every day that kind of different is the stances. You know, my stance back at Albany was a little bit more, you know, right here, so I can get my hands right there. While here, it's a little bit lower to the ground. You know, they're changing my stance. The way I get off is a little bit. They're changing it so it can be a little bit faster. You know, they're just changing a lot of technical things about me. There's nothing too physical that they're trying to, make a big difference about. It's just technicalities about stuff like that.
Weird question, off the beaten path. I'm just thinking about the relative short period of time that you've been here. Have you gotten to know Tally? You starting to feel more comfortable? You've been here a little over a month now. You starting to can you get around? You know what's up?
Now I can definitely get around. I'm getting a little bit more comfortable here every day. You know, the team, I have to give them a lot of credit. They've helped me integrate myself, feel real comfortable here, feel like I'm kind of becoming a part of the family, you know, making real good friends and everything like that.
Yeah, that segment group, you gotten to know them really well. You guys hitting it off and vibing.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? I couldn't hear that.
The segment group that you're in, defensive end, defensive line, you guys, you got to know all those guys now and feel pretty comfortable. You're starting to get a vibe for what's what?
Oh, definitely. You know, the first couple of days here was kind of like, you know, you're the new guy. You got to be a little quiet and everything like that. But now we can start making jokes and having fun and everything like that.
So final couple of things here. You know, I know obviously you're going to speak to the boys and girls tonight, Tallahassee Boys and Girls Club. You've been active since you've been here. Obviously, you're a community guy. It sounds like this is something that you're not just asked to do, so you do it. It's something you want to do.
Oh, it definitely is. You know, I have to give credit because it's always something I've been wanting to integrate myself in, the community and everything like that. But Rising Spirit actually has been helping me, you know, kind of be able to get out there, speak to boys and girls clubs, you know, tell them how my path was to get here, go to schools, tell them, you know, what I did to be able to get to the position I'm at today where, you know, people know me nationwide. People can hear my name. People know who I am when they say Jared Verse. Is becoming a more and more, you know, known name. So I've been being able to. I love the chance that Rising Spirit has given me to be able to go around and, you know, speak to all these boys and girls clubs and kids and let them know, you know, they can do it too.
Really quickly, for those that can't see it, on War Chant TV, we've put up the event, the location, 6:30 tonight, part of the Black History Feast. You can see it on your screen. If you can't, Pinewood Place is the location, 2940 Grady Road, Tallahassee, Florida. It starts at 6:30 if you wanted to be part of that. I think it's a great event. It will be interesting to listen to Jared and some of his other teammates as well. Final thing, Jared, I'll let you go, and I appreciate your time and your candor. Growing up where you did, what did you think about Florida State? Where were they on your radar? I mean, obviously, you've come a long way, and you're here now, and you've embraced that. But were you an Ohio State fan? Growing up, who did you root for?
I never really rooted for anyone. Like, I don't really have like a professional team. I never had like a college team. You know, growing up in Ohio, like I guess like everyone can say I was an Ohio fan, like an Ohio State fan, but like, you know, I never really had like a team I went and watched every weekend, or when the TV was on, I got to watch it. Honestly, I just played outside with my friends all the time, to be quite honest.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's nice to hear that you were outside. You're doing stuff. Good for you.
I was more outside playing with my friends, playing football than watching it.
Good, man. That is great. That's a breath of fresh air. Hey, Jared Verse, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck, and I'll see you out there at spring football, and have fun tonight at the event. It's a great cause.
Will do. Thank you for having me.